Hi, everyone. Welcome to the December HSA meeting. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to jump right into things because we do have a lot of things to cover. Our meeting tonight, we'll do some school updates, and then we'll go into our main presentations about the International Baccalaureate program and advanced placement. We have some presenters with us today who will be sharing that. And then we'll go through home and school updates and any class updates that we might have before closing out for the day. All right. So jumping right into school update with President Davis.
Thank you, Esther. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's my pleasure to provide some updates. I know that some members of my team are going to be providing some really important information this evening, which is important. So thank you to them for logging on. And I just want to encourage everyone to make sure that they sign in on the Google form. I would also go a step further to say that if you feel inspired to rename yourself with the class number of your child, it allows us to make sure that we're really speaking to the specific grade level that's represented in the meeting. So if you know how to do that, you can click the participants button and then rename yourself just with a 288, a 287, maybe a little bit of all. It helps us to know who is in the Zoom room. All right, so I want to start just by sharing, making sure everybody is aware of some upcoming events and important happenings at Central High School. The first one to share is that tomorrow, of course, we do have our evening show of our multicultural showcase. It is the halfway point of term 2. So interim reports will be available for families on the parent portal or on your child's login screen as well. We've been immersed in our multicultural week this past week, which is when dozens of different student groups are performing on stage for their peers in the morning. It's been really, really incredible. The important things to highlight as we close out the 2025 portion of the school year is that we have some concerts coming up next week in the evening. If you are a new family to Central High School, please know that we hold our winter concerts over 2 nights. And that's because there's just so many wonderful performances to share. You can see the specific performances highlighted there. Earlier this afternoon, I shared an email with all families about information for our upcoming midterm exams. We will have winter break, and then when we come back to school in 2026, midterm exams are kicking off soon after. There's an upcoming slide with more information about that. And then last but not least, I'll just highlight that once we get into December, we're going to be closing out the month with our incredible musical performance, Little Shop of Horrors. And if you are a new family to Central High School, please know that the musicals are not just actors on the stage. It's also our musicians who are performing in our orchestra. It's our students in our arts program who have designed all the costumes. It's our students in our stage crew who have physically built the set and the stages. So it is an all-hands-on affair not to be missed. I think I just saw a question in the chat asking about the time for the winter concerts. I have to double check. Mr. Myrick, you may be on. I think they're from 6 to 8. Yeah, I see Mr. Smith just said 6 to 8.
I believe so, correct, yes.
Thank you. And there are winter concerts, there's no admission fee. It's donation based only, and any donations go 100% to our arts department. Next slide, please, Esther. All right, on the topic of athletics, it's important to know that we are in the winter athletic season. These on the left-hand side, you see all of our athletic offerings, junior varsity and varsity level for the winter season, as well as many of their Instagram pages. If you or your child is active on social media, Instagram is a great place to see what games are coming up, what were the results of the games, any special competitions or events. In the middle, you see that our boys wrestling team had a match day today against Franklintown Charter School. It was an incredible match and they did win. And on the right-hand side, you'll see just the schedule. It's a screenshot from our boys varsity basketball team, their schedule. So oftentimes we give announcements during the school day for students to come and support fellow Lancers for their athletic events, and it is just so much fun. Sometimes there are fees associated with tickets and other times there are not. For example, the wrestling matches are free of charge. So make sure to check it out if you are interested in supporting Central High School athletics. Next slide. All right, so to talk about midterm exams, again, there was a letter that I shared with any family who has their email address uploaded into the parent portal earlier today. It is not, this information is not yet on our website, but it will be by the end of the week. We have midterm exam coming up in roughly 1 month, a little bit more than a month. If you are new to Central High School, here are the most important things to know about midterms. We have midterm exams every year, and in the spring, we will host final exams. The midterm exam is worth 20% of the term two grade. It is a cumulative exam from the beginning of the school year up until, about winter break. We run a specialized bell schedule for midterms, which is posted there. Students have up to 2 midterms per day. As you see in the table on the bottom, we have a 1 hour, 45-minute study hall period each morning of midterm week, and that is for students to be preparing and studying. We also have a school-wide lunch break study hall period in between the first and second midterm of the day. The entire 2,400 members of our student body have 2:15 to 3 o'clock as their lunch period. So if your child normally has seventh period lunch and you've filled out the form for them to be able to go home, they're able to do that during midterm week. If your child does not have seventh period lunch and you've never filled out this form, you don't know what I'm talking about, students with permission are allowed to leave our campus to go home at the beginning of the lunch period. Of course, parent permission is required, and in the midterm letter, there's a Google form for you to fill that out. On the topic of Google Forms, every student at Central High School is going to have at least one day across these 4 midterms days when they only have one exam. That's because all students have a lunch period. We have many students who are in grade 12 who may have an additional unrostered period or study skills period. We have a special privilege at Central High School that if you have an unrostered period without an exam, with parent permission, you are allowed to skip that time in school. So for example, on Monday, January 12th, if you have seventh period lunch, that means that you don't have an exam from 9:50 to 11:30. There's a Google form in that letter that allows you to give your permission for your child to have an excused late arrival. It is there, nothing is counted against them, and they can come to school late. The same is true of the reverse. Let's say your child has fifth period lunch. If you fill out the Google form on Wednesday, January 14th, they can go home at the end of the 11:30 exam. Of course, if you don't want them to do that and you want them to stay on campus, the school is open to them. We're not kicking anybody out, but it is just a special privilege that is allowed during midterm week. The form does need to be filled out every single year. So if you filled it out last year, we ask that you please fill it out again. We really made the form much more short and sweet. You just have to put your child's name, and we look up automatically when their unrostered periods are in our student information system.
Can I jump in for a minute, please, Kate?
Please.
So for 288 families, freshmen are not familiar with this. So our next town hall, which is next Tuesday, we're going to be discussing exactly what the midterm schedule looks like, going over all of these details and letting students know everything that they need to know because ninth grade has no idea what this looks like.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Mr. Myrick. All teachers will be providing students with a study guide to help them prepare. We don't expect 14-year-olds to automatically know how to prepare for a cumulative exam that covers months of material. So that you can expect in the studies guide to see broad topics, types of questions, format, etc., that students can use over the winter break period if they choose to do so to help prepare. Next slide, please. I see a question. I'll make sure to answer that in a moment. This is a repeat slide from a previous meeting, just reminding everybody that our community service window is open right now, and the first early deadline is coming up right at the end of midterms. So we have an incentivized deadline of January 16th with a slightly lower requirement for community service. If your child has not started their community service yet, have conversations with them about it, help them gather some ideas. There are a lot of opportunities to complete community service in school if they are not sure where to start outside of school. And as a reminder, community service is accredited course requirement that's on every student's transcript. It comes up as the seminar course on their report card. Freshman seminar, sophomore seminar, etc. it is counted within the humanities credits. Next slide. Last but not least, I just wanted to share with families a newly scheduled workshop that will be in partnership with Rashida Polk, who is our family and community engagement liaison. I'm not sure if Rashida's logged on with us tonight. If she is, feel free to jump in. But we just organized a virtual workshop. We'll make sure to share this flyer in the message system for next week, December the 15th, 6 o'clock p.m. If you're not logged into the parent portal, you're not sure how to look at your child's attendance record, their interim reports, etc., she will help you get logged in. Sometimes parents are not sure how to find the confirmation codes, etc. Esther, I believe that might be my last slide, but can you click once more? It is. So thank you once again. I'm going to be staying logged on for a little bit longer. I'll make sure to take a look at the questions in the chat and answer any there. I know we have a lot of items on the agenda today, so I don't want to take up too much time. But thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, President Davis. Is Ms. Rodriguez on?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi there.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has come up a couple times as people wondering about CIEE and summer experiences. So if you have any insights to share on that and what parents should look out for and think about with it.
For sure. So actually, right now, I'm going to, in the chat, I'm going to drop a link to the website that that students and parents can peruse at their leisure. And I know there have been many questions about it coming in via email and students themselves coming in too, not just parents. So as let's say 8 or 9 years ago, I was petitioned by the company to join a partnership with them. And so we looked into what that it would entail. So I filled out the paperwork and started having meetings with the program. And the overall idea is that there's a woman who decided to give $6 million a year in scholarship money to high school kids to go abroad because she believes that this is like just the way to become, like as it says, a global navigator, but to become like a citizen of the world, right? And understanding other cultures and things of that nature. So she, by being a partner, because we gained partnership via the application, we were guaranteed 25,000 a year towards our students' travels. But for the past, I would say 6 years, we've gotten over 100,000 a year from her for our kids. Now, what does that look like? We break it down into, last year we had 54 students travel. And how that occurs is students go online on the website that I just, sent in the chat. Students can fill out an application. And when one begins an application, it says, what is your dream trip? And there are many programs available. So there's anything from language and culture to STEM, some are fashion, some are writing, business, entrepreneurship. There are many different programs that one can look into via special interests or maybe career paths, right? So so when so it will be noted that the students are asked if they want to apply for scholarship. So the sponsor herself and the company have said to me, students should always say yes. So sometimes students are a little unclear, like, well, would I qualify based on, how much my family makes? Because what does that really look like? That's not for us to decide. That's for them to decide. So of course, yes, you say, I'm applying for a scholarship. There's two types of scholarships. They are merit, which one has to upload their transcript. And then there are also need-based. So one of the questions, if you go that route and apply for that scholarship as well, will be to discuss some financial information with them. And if you have more specific questions, I can speak to that. But two of my own children have gone before, and what I did was it wasn't such a strict regimented policy. I basically I got a post-it note and I covered the social security numbers and just took a screenshot of like my taxes. So like they didn't like to, so not all of the I'm sorry. I covered the social security numbers, right? So they just kind of wanted to get like an idea of what the household income looks like to see how much you may qualify for. So again, that's up to you if you're interested in that, but there's two different types of scholarships. You can pick one or the other or both. I would always suggest, and they do also suggest, to apply for both because whatever you're able to get in scholarship would just be great for your child. So, so pardon me. I see that somebody asked about questions. A question about the first year. Yes, it's true. The first year you go abroad, that's when you qualify, you're eligible for the most amount of scholarship money. And then after that, it's more about you get the merit automatically, which is usually 10%. And then, they offer you some ideas about fundraising and you may wind up getting something else too. And the price varies as per the trip. So one can imagine that the Asian trips are more because the distance, right? And the cost of like the flight is more than it would be going somewhere closer by, like Mexico. It's a cheaper flight. So like all of those prices, are things that you can look up, like when you search through the page that I offered. So like I said, last year we had 54 students go and to 13 different countries. And there students always come back saying how much it changed them, and not just whether it was learning language, learning STEM or things of that nature, but also just development as a human, right? As some kids will say, just navigating the airport on my own really taught me something, and just different things that are processes that, we can't teach you. One has to experience, right? And then just being in another country, learning how people do things differently. Students share a wealth of knowledge and just excitement when it comes to their experiences on the program. I'm trying to read the chat at the same time. So I'm seeing that so some people said great program. So I'm imagining that that you've had some students go. So to just share a couple little details. So my son did Costa Rica, and where he did sustainability, and he lived on a reserve in the cloud forest, the rainforests, and everything was like the land and the environment, and they did different projects like this may sound gross, but they had to actually use the animals' waste to fuel their heat, the electricity, and everything. So they were learning these scientific processes that were part of keeping the world clean and things like that. So really, really amazing stuff. They made their own cream cheese when they would make something in the morning with breakfast. And in the meantime, they would do salsa lessons and they would be dancing and going on excursions to different areas. And my daughter did Mallorca, Spain, and she did full bio in Spanish. So she was doing all kinds of research in labs and things like that, but she also did the Spanish element. If you do one that has the language, you also are able to get accreditation from Tulane University. So it doesn't matter. Some often ask, well, what if I don't go to that university? You still are able to receive credits so that when you go to college, you start with those 3 credits, right? So that's also a helpful thing for many, just for this. I don't want to say this fun experience because it's definitely a learning experience too. But so it's like a win-win in that way. Um, the upcoming deadline is January 1st, and that is in order to be able to qualify for a raffle for the free plane ticket. But otherwise, they're still accepting applications right now. It says to late January, but they all often we hear, oh, it's been extended because so many people are still asking and inquiring. So my advice would be to get your student looking at it and for you yourself to look at the options and just see what would make sense for you. So I don't know if anybody had any specific questions about it because I know many questions have come in. So if anybody wants to pop on and ask something specific, let me know. Otherwise, I think at this point, I think you can check out some of it yourselves. Anybody?
Thank you so much, Ms. Rodriguez. I know there was one question about age, but I think it's as long as they've completed ninth grade. So any student in our
Yes.
high school would
So
be eligible, right?
there are two age things that I would mention. So any when we say completed ninth grade, when they go in and they start an application, we want them to click that they're from Central because that opens up the money that's available to them because we're a partner school, right? So there are essay prompts involved in that application process and everything. So we want to make sure that when they are reading through our students' information, they know to put us in this pile of a partner school, right? So having been in ninth grade at Central, that puts them in that category. Unfortunately, though, it is a business, right? So they want you to be able to come back and report out. So unfortunately, seniors are not eligible for the same amount of scholarship money since they wouldn't be returning to us. So that also is kind of like an age related question as well. I'm looking. Just an FYI, like in terms of like safety and things like that, they immediately put all the kids on different ch like group chats with project leaders and things of that nature. So before the students even go on study, they have already bonded and become friends with students from all over the country. Because this is an American program, right? So there'll be like a kid from California, a kid from New York, a kid from Texas, all on program with them. One thing I would mention also is that the majority of the programs are homestay. There are several, I want to say, in China, Sydney, Australia. There are a couple where they're more dorm-like setups. The one in Africa as well, and it's just because of lifestyle there and space. So there are a couple that don't offer the homestay, um, and logically so. If anybody has any questions, here I can add my email in the chat here as well. And so if you have follow-up questions, I'm available whenever. So again, I can speak as somebody from school and as a parent who has experienced this myself. I get it. They're your babies.
Thank you again so much for joining on. And yeah, and we'll send this out to people so people have Ms. Rodriguez's email. All right. Switching gears, talking about another great program and opportunities for students, we have Mr. P here to talk about the International Baccalaureate program.
Thank you, Esther. Do you want to click through slides or do you want me to share?
What's easier? We
Uh,
got it up, so I can.
yeah, if you want to click through them and I'll tell you when to.
Okay, cool.
Works. So while we get those up, I'll just quickly introduce myself. I also Still a bit out of breath. I'm at my gym and I sort of commandeered our yoga studio because all the other quiet private rooms were occupied. Thanks for bearing with me. So my name's Nick, Mr. Palazzolo. A lot of students at Central know me as Mr. P. And I've been teaching at Central for 8 years, going on 9 years now. And I've been teaching IB history that whole time, and this is my 3rd year coordinating the IB diploma program. We're going to be discussing, or I'll share with you all what the diploma program is, what classes are available to students, how your student can know if IB is right for them, and I'll go over the application process. All right, we're getting our slides up.
All right.
That was from our end of the year party last year. All 3 cohorts, the rising cohorts at the time, the graduating cohort, and the junior cohort. All right, you can click next. I've already introduced myself. The next slide's the agenda. So I just went over what we're going to be doing. I'll hopefully we'll have time for questions at the end. Next slide. So these are just some photos from some cohort events and from one of our IB graduations. One of the things I want to emphasize before I go over sort of the academic portion of the program is that one of the thing that for me is the most exciting about our diploma program at Central High School, the 2nd largest high school in the city, is that students who experience the diploma program get a chance to engage in a smaller learning community at a very large high school. So to me, you get the best of both worlds. You get a small learning community while still accessing, the 100+ clubs and dozens of sports teams and all the showcases and all the arts programs that a large school can offer. But you get to kind of really build strong ties and relationships with a cohort of 60 students over the course of 2 years. And we have a lot of fun together. We, have parties and talent showcases and winter break parties, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. So the students really build a strong community. And for me, that is the most rewarding aspect of the program. Next slide. So the diploma program at Central is a cohort-based 2-year college prep program taken during junior and senior years. At Central, we have IB diploma as one of many academic options at Central. So we are not an IB school entirely. Not all students do it. So it does mean that there's an application process. There are schools in the United States, and in Philly where all students are kind of automatically enrolled in diploma. But we have, as Mr. Smith is going to talk about, AP options as well. Next slide. So the mission of the International Baccalaureate since 1968, when they piloted the program in a dozen countries, has been to develop inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. So IB has some really lofty, big time goals. And what I think you see here is that IB cares more than just about the classroom. They care about the classroom in the global context. And the curriculum reflects that, and the approach reflects that. The reason I bolded and underlined the term inquiring is because that's the piece I really want to highlight. For Central students who are in the diploma program, I think apart from the small cohort model and community that I already illustrated, I think for me, the other distinguishing feature of the program is that students in each of their IB subjects that they take get to design and pursue their own research question using the methodology of that discipline. So for example, students who take IB chemistry design an experiment to pursue, using the scientific method to collect data and test the hypothesis of, that they design with, support from the teacher. And so, for example, IB psychology students design a research design process, that reflects the methods of psychologists. For history, they have to not only develop a historical inquiry, but one in what that historians are debating, so that they can come to their own conclusions, right? So accessing, scholarly debates, and doing the history and scholarship themselves. Every subject has some element of this, right? In language, it's obviously an oral, an interview, so that they can demonstrate the language. So for me, the inquiry piece is a really important piece. Next slide. So all diploma students around the world, the 100,000 diploma students in the United States, the 100,000 students in the 150 other countries that have IB diploma, all will do these three pieces, right? The extended essay, theory of knowledge, and this piece called CAS, Creativity, Activity, Service. We really love our acronyms in IB. So I'll take these one at a time. So next slide. The extended essay is, I would say, the most academic scholarly element of the program. It is an in-depth study of a focused topic, particular interest to the student. They choose the subject. It's designed to be a subject they have some expertise in, or they're going to take senior year so that they can, learn the methodology of that subject, because a lot of this is self-regulated and independent research. Now, all diploma students, including central diploma students, get guidance from a faculty supervisor. We also house the extended essay within the theory of knowledge class. So unlike some other schools around the world that do IB diploma, central students have protected class time for the extended essay, junior and senior year. This is a long-term, 5-month process, 6-month process, including the summer. If you think of it, it's a high school version of a master's thesis, an undergrad thesis, a doctoral dissertation, high school version, manageable for high school students, but something students can be really proud of, because it is intimidating at first. 4,000-word paper is somewhat intimidating for some of our high school students. Next slide. So the theory of knowledge class, or the TOK class, is a class unique to IB. It sounds like a philosophy class. It's really philosophy adjacent. It is a class designed to help students explore the nature of inquiry. How do we know what we know? What does it look like to pursue knowledge in the humanities versus the natural sciences versus the social sciences? I would say it's designed to cultivate a healthy skepticism, right, of what we know. Next slide. This is the feature that's outside of the classroom. It ensures IB students take time for themselves to pursue their interests. Lots of students are already doing artsy, creative things, physical activity and health, and community service. It replaces the community service requirements that students need to complete at Central, and expands that beyond just community service. And there is some reflective writing portion that accompanies this. Some of our students are balanced across these three. Some entirely dedicate towards one of these. And so this encourages them to kind of, reflect on what they're comfortable in, and also pursue some things that they have not experimented with yet. Next slide. So what are the classes that students are available to take? So on the next slide, you'll see all 6 subjects. There are all 6 subject groupings. These are the academic areas, these 6 academic areas. Studies in literature, that corresponds to our English. Group 2 is language acquisition in the green, that's world language. Individuals and societies, that's social studies, in our terminology. Group 4 in the orange is sciences. Group 5 in the red is math. And the yellow is group 6, the arts. So students need to take one subject in all of the first 5 groups. The arts is optional. They have to take 6 subjects overall. So the 6th subject can come from any of the groups, except language acquisition. And then they take their theory of knowledge class, which I've already mentioned. So for our students, to satisfy Pennsylvania state requirements and District of Philadelphia requirements, all of our students are automatically enrolled in our higher level 2-year IB literature course, our higher level 2-year IB history course, and then they have to take at least 1 more year of math on top of that. We have 2 different levels of that, and then we have a 2-year math course for students who want 2 more years of math at the higher level. There is a carve-out where students who pursue the AP Calc program with Ms. Dragomir specifically can continue to pursue that junior year while still doing IB diploma, and I can answer that more specifically later. Everybody continues with 2 years of language at the IB level if they're already enrolled in an IB class sophomore year. maybe IB Spanish or IB Chinese. Those are the most common to be enrolled in at this junior year. They just need, one more year of that. They have to take 1 year of science. They're welcome to double up there. And then their sixth subject, a lot of them come from the individuals and societies because we have so many: psychology, philosophy, global politics, and anthropology. And a lot of them come from the sciences as well, since, we have a number of students who want to double up there. Next slide. The IB diploma is an internationally recognized credential for U.S. universities and colleges. The diploma is not necessarily as meaningful as the individual IB courses, usually the ones taken at the higher level, because for IB universities, for United States universities and colleges, each department is going to evaluate whether they give credit or the opportunity to place out of an intro class, depending on, it's going to kind of be individually decided by those departments, by the psychology department versus the history or the language department. And they typically carry the same possibility for college credit as the AP classes. For the more selective universities, there might be less opportunity there for both AP and IB, and those schools are more likely to only give credit for certain scores at higher level subjects, because higher level subjects are taken for 2 years and demonstrate, a greater depth and breadth of knowledge. But there are schools that will, offer some credit for SL courses, standard level courses as well, which are typically taken for 1 year. Next slide. At Central, I'm really proud to say that we are always, our diploma candidates have a earned diploma rate that is higher than the worldwide rate. 84% of our students last year, of our diploma candidates, earned their IB diploma. Globally, that was just shy of 82%, so we're a couple percentage points above that. Next slide. The year before that, 85% of our, almost 86% of our IB diploma candidates earned their diploma. The worldwide rate at that point was 80%, so we were significantly higher then. So given that so many IB schools around the world are private, and I'm really proud of that as a public school. Although that's not the only thing that matters. A lot of our students return from college to visit us freshman year and talk extensively about how well prepared they are, how they're surprised at how many of their peers in college freshman year don't know how to write a paper or are intimidated by long papers. And for our diploma graduates, even ones who didn't earn their diploma, they are just so many miles ahead of their peers in college because of how rigorous the diploma program is. The next set of slides, we're just going to kind of skip through. You're welcome to read them on your own. It's just quotes from IB alumni about what they value in the program. I do think we have absolutely amazing teachers who really dedicate a lot of time to giving students feedback and meeting with students to support them. They teach IB because they love their subject and they love teaching students. So there's a lot of things in here that you're welcome to read through. We can jump to the slide that says, how does your student know if IB is right for them? Slide right after that gives you a list of questions. I usually tell students, if they're finding themselves answering yes to all of these questions about, they love thinking critically, they love finding connections across their subjects, they want to learn in a smaller community, they want to pursue their own research questions and, really get ready for college and the levels of research writing and problem solving needed in college. If they're answering yes to this, IB is probably right for them. The next slide. That being said, while all of our Central students, have the potential to be really successful in the IB diploma program, it requires intentionality. So students really need to think about their commitment, what they want their 2 years, junior and senior year, to look like, because the IB diploma program is students who join that are saying that academics is a top priority for them, right? Which means they sometimes need to evaluate their other commitments. We've had a number of IB juniors this year decide to withdraw from the robotics team that they were a part of for 2 years, or kind of withdraw from maybe go from 3 seasons of a sport to 2 seasons. This is not to say that students in IB have dropped all their extracurriculars and are only doing classroom work and academics. And I would say that our diploma students are among our most involved students at Central High School. But because they come in so involved and often overcommitted, doing the diploma program typically requires, I need to be more intentional with my commitments. Maybe I can't do all 5 clubs and still do robotics on the weekends, right? And so they need to kind of make some intentional choices. So, while all of our students are, have the potential for diploma, it does require intentionality and a willingness to prioritize and make some, hard decisions about how they manage their time. Next slide. So, how do students apply? So I'll first list my admissions criteria, right? And this is in line with the IB Diploma, the International Baccalaureate Organization globally. For the IBO globally, they want any school that has an IB Diploma program to accept all their students in that school, right? That's what IBO would love to do. Now, they recognize that some schools offer diploma cohorts adjacent to AP programs and other programs, right? And in those situations, they recommend a holistic review process for building the cohort. So these are the 4 criteria. Students need to exhibit strong academic performance in 9th and 10th grade. All of their acceptances in the winter are conditional on continued strong performance 3rd and 4th quarter. I can and have sometimes, it's rare, but it does happen, rescind applications at the end of the year if 3rd and 4th quarter demonstrate significant decline. I usually monitor that 3rd quarter, meet with students who show significant decline to see if they can turn around 4th quarter and keep that spot. The other thing that we look for, it is not automatically a requirement, but students should, if I want to see that sophomore year, they're seeking particularly honors and AP classes. There's not really many IB classes students can take 10th grade, so it's more so honors and AP. Of course, that's not always possible. Sometimes students try to get into the AP classes and they're just overbooked. So this is not a requirement, but it does strengthen an application because it shows that they're going to be ready for the more rigorous coursework junior year. The 3rd bullet point is assessed through the personal statement. So there's an IB learner profile I'll show you in a moment. We want to see that students are reflective about themselves as learners and as people in the world, and that they embody some of these attributes and seek to further develop them. I'll show you those in a moment. And then, of course, consistent attendance is really important. If we could jump 3 slides for a moment to show the IB learner profile. So the next slide, sorry. Sorry, these are old slides. I realize I rearranged my own slides and I'm looking at, and you're on yours. This is the IB learner profile. There are 10 attributes: inquirers, knowledgeable, thinkers, communicators, principled, open-minded, caring, risk-takers, balanced, and reflective. Students are going to refer to this when they write their personal statement. So you can jump back 2 slides to the personal statement slide. So the application mainly is, I will pull grades, I'll pull attendance records. What students give me is their personal statement. And it is in 2 parts. It is a 300 to 400 word narrative where they tell a cohesive story, rich in detail, demonstrating how they demonstrate one of those 10 traits we just looked at. Part 2 is a shorter piece, 150 to 200 words, explaining why they want to grow in one of those attributes and a specific strategy that they have or will implement to grow in that attitude or in that area. So that's the 2-part personal statement. And I do give students tips on how to write that during the interest meetings that I've already started holding, and it will continue hold next week, and we'll hold more in January. And there is a Google form where they submit this, and they also submit it on Turnitin. I tell students, We'll put up the tips slide for a second. I'm not going to go over all of them. It's really more for students, but I do want to emphasize that when students apply for IB and they write their personal statement, they should not be using AI. Confirmed use of AI will mean they won't get into the program. Their personal statement should be authentic, and this is a really good practice for college, and for applying to college and really thinking about how to craft that personal statement. All right, so we'll close with questions.
I can run through some of the ones that were in
Okay.
the chat, Mr. P. I know one of them was the CAS is done outside of school, ? Do they do it in a group?
Yes. So the CAS is done outside of school. Throughout their first year and a half, it is done individually, and then there is a culminating group project at the end of senior year, usually done after the IB exam period. So we have like another week or so of school, and that's the time when students can really work on that. Yep, I'm looking at the questions now, so I can take over if it's easier. Yes, students can still stay committed to the Dragomir program, and I'm happy to talk with those students individually about what that would look like, or any parents can email me about that. It does require more independent work with the math, with the significantly 12 to 20 page math paper that is required for IB that they will not do in the AP class. We do get them a faculty supervisor to help with that, but it does require some more independent work outside of class. What point do they have to choose a track when they apply or during the program? So I will meet with every student who gets into the program. The applications are due January 31st. I make decisions by February 8th. Students will meet with me as a group. We'll get to know each other. I'll go over what subject selection looks like, and then I will have every student schedule a 10-minute meeting with me in February, and we will go over their kind of favorite subjects, their career interests, if they have any at this point, and I will make sure that their 2-year IB pathway aligns with their interests and things like that. If students are interested in pre-med, they must take IB chemistry, for example. Not must, but they really, 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 really should. So things like that I make sure that I support students with some career and kind of, advising in that sense. IB courses are available to 10th graders. The only IB courses available to 10th graders are if they are on an advanced world language track. That's very, very rare. It's really juniors and seniors. How does IB compare to AP? I would say the main differences at Central High School is that IB is a small cohort model. AP is primarily a la carte. There are some IB courses students can take when they are not IB diploma students, but primarily IB is more of a separate cohort. AP has started to adopt IB style of learning. So AP now offers seminar and research where students are developing portfolios and are scored in those subjects on work they conduct over the course of weeks and months. IB continues to distinguish itself from most AP courses in that most AP subjects end with a one-day exam, whereas IB scores are 2 days worth of exam and a long-term 2-month-long project. So students have multiple ways to demonstrate their skills. Some from getting the diploma. The diploma question is pretty specific. Mainly, test scores. They all those tests and the extended essay, everything that they submit is worth 45 points. They need to earn 24 points out of those 45. It's kind of a complicated kind of math system that they have, but sometimes students just are like 1 or 2 points shy. So it's mainly the test scores. Our diploma students are pretty good at completing all their requirements, so that's not usually the issue. GPA weight for AP and IB is 1.2. Grading is on a 1 to 7 scale for every IB subject. You add up all those 7 possible points for 6 subjects, add on the extended essay points and TOK points, and that's how you get the 45. So it's a different system. Doesn't really map on well to our A through F. They do apply in 10th grade. January 31st is the deadline every year for sophomores. And I think that is, sorry, I was trying to run through those pretty quickly. I think there's still more, but I don't want to, I should turn it over to AP Smith. There is not an interview that is part of the process, just the personal statement. Students cannot transition back to regular classes after they start the program past the 2-week add drop period. So 2 to 3 months into IB, they cannot drop. unless there are particularly extreme extenuating circumstances, right? But just because they're struggling, no, we will support them. We will meet with them. We will set up a support plan, but they cannot drop. This is very important. They can't just decide to drop. And if they are on that track, it's a lot of parent meetings and whatnot, so it is not something that they can just see if they want to do and then 2 months later decide to drop because they're struggling a bit. We will put in support systems in place. And dual enrollment's not my purview. All right, I think that's it. Thank you all so much. And I genuinely love all of our IB diploma students, and I love coordinating this program. It's truly a lot of fun. The students are super nerdy and love and really support each other. So, and I know a lot of you on here have kids already in the program. Yeah, thank you all for letting me be here. I'm gonna jump back and get back to my workout. Take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right. AP Smith is up next. He's going to be talking to us about advanced placement.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to unmute myself while I was sharing my screen, so I just had to unshare then to reshare. But yeah, thank you, Esther. Thank you, HSA, for inviting me to speak to you all this evening. Mr. Palazzolo, Ms. Davis, and Ms. Rodriguez, thank you all for sharing as well. And thank you, families, for being here today. We value community engagement, family engagement, but more than that, partnership. So you've taken a step towards us today, and you entrust us with your wonderful children. And so it's important that we operate as a team so that we can guarantee the conditions which allow your young people to achieve success at Central. So I'll keep my remarks brief. I know it's getting late and we got a lot of information, but yeah, I want to share a general overview of what advanced placement looks like at Central High School. So first of all, who am I, if we haven't gotten to meet? I'm one of the assistant principals, along with AP Myrick, who I know all of you know well. Dr. Scott has the 10th grade. I work with 286, our 11th grade students, as well as supervise the World Language and Social Studies departments, and I get to work with my very esteemed colleagues like Ms. Rodriguez and Mr. Palazzolo. So that's a real joy. I also taught Spanish and history as a teacher, so I especially love working with those two departments. And Dr. Francis Maurer is the newest member of our team, and he works with 12th grade. So as you see, I work with social studies and world language, but I also work with our bilingual counseling assistants, the Barnwell Library, and our librarian, Mr. Lobron. And then I do testing, which includes Keystone testing, SAT and PSAT school day testing, not the Saturday weekend testing, but the ones we host in-house, and the other half of the College Board testing regime, advanced placement testing. So I'm actually going to speak to you more as a testing coordinator with familiarity with AP than a program coordinator. We don't have an AP program per se, analogous to the IB program that we have. Mr. Palazzolo is the IB coordinator, but as he was explaining, one of the key differences between AP and IB at Central is AP is available on a more a la carte basis. So who takes APs at Central? Well, you see 67% this year of our students are enrolled in upper level courses, including honors, AP, IB, and dual enrollment courses. But if you take out the freshman class who does not have access to AP or IB or dual enrollment classes, it's more like 85% of our students grades 10 through 12. And after honors classes, AP classes are where the majority of our students get those upper level classes. So you see 38% of students who are taking advanced level classes at Central High School are taking AP courses, one of the 25 we offer. So this year, it looks like 854 students are enrolled in one or more AP class for a total enrollment of almost 1,600 AP enrollment. So that's 1,600 AP exams that we will administer in May in the span of 2 to 3 weeks. There's some late testing and then exception testing when students have conflict with AP and IB. They allow us to order a late exam for students to take. And while we do that, while we administer these 1,600 exams in May, we continue to offer our regularly scheduled academic programming. So as you can imagine, our resources are stretched rather thin during those couple of weeks there, but I'll circle back to that in just a minute. But Mr. Palazzolo also answered a parent question regarding GPA weights. So I know many students and many families, and rightly so, and this is something that we're happy about at Central, but many students are concerned about GPA, and that's a motivating factor when considering which courses to sign up for during course enrollment. But I do want to highlight the fact that there are no regular classes at Central High School. Okay. Out of a 4.0 GPA scale, a student in all regular classes who receives all A's will finish that semester with a 4.4 out of 4.0 GPA. And those are all regular classes. So I've replaced that with college prep here. So that's a multiplier of 1.1. Honors classes similarly have a multiplier of 1.15, so that a student who receives an A in an honors level class instead of a 4.0 has a 4.6 GPA for that course. IB, AP, and dual enrollment include a 1.2 multiplier. So a student who gets an A in an AP class or an IB class or a dual enrollment class leaves with a weighted GPA of 4.8. So these are the 25 courses that we are offering this year in advanced placement. There are 3 in the arts. You'll see 2D art and drawing and music theory. 3 core social studies courses. So that includes AP African American Studies, AP Government, and AP United States History. In addition to those core classes, there's 4 social studies electives, which this is AP European History, AP Geography, Seminar and Research. Mr. Palazzolo commented on research and seminar as being akin to the IB program of independent research and developing a portfolio throughout the course of the academic year, as opposed to an end-of-year exam assessment. So what's the difference between the core social studies classes, advanced placement, and the electives? Well, the core social studies courses take the place of courses that are required by the School District of Philadelphia to achieve graduation. So AFAM and United States History and Social Sciences, or our government class, are required courses, but if you take the AP version of that, that requirement is similarly satisfied. We have 3 world language courses this year, 2 English, 5 science, 4 core math, and 1 math elective as well in AP Computer Science Principles. Oh, this list is relatively static every year, so you can anticipate this being what we offer again next year. In the odd instance that a teacher retires, who's the only person certified to teach that AP course, that list might change slightly, but year in and year out, these are the courses that we're offering. Sometimes world languages alternate a year between IB and AP offerings because, as Mr. Palazzolo was saying, world language courses can be taken a la carte in the IB program, but often those courses are cross-listed. So it's an AP/IB Latin course. It's the same course. The same kids are in the classroom together with Mr. DiGiulio. Okay, so this is the conversation I have with students, and it's the conversation I would encourage you all as parents to have with your young people who are considering advanced placement courses. It's about fit. So is this particular AP course the right fit? And I'll say this, we believe that every one of our Central High School students has a right fit AP course over the course of their 4 years. There's not a student we have who cannot be successful in the right fit AP class. But at the same time, not one of our Central High School students is the right fit for all 25 AP courses. So it's evaluating this course and against that course and against who I am as a sophomore or a junior or a senior when deciding how to proceed with course enrollment. So I ask students, do they love the content? Is this something you're passionate about? And if the answer is no, I'm just interested in my GPA, um, we might steer kids towards an honors level class or the college prep level regular class. And how much do you love it? You love it and you're passionate about it? Do you love it 30 to 60 minutes nightly? And if the answer is yes, you're enthusiastically uh, behind the mission of the advanced placement course. Definitely. And then also being realistic about what are your other commitments. You know, are you on 3 sports teams and are you on the cabinet of 6 clubs at Central? Do you have an after school job that keeps you out till 11 or 11:30 sometimes even for our students? And just being realistic about the number of higher level courses that our students are applying to and finding that right balance to be able to manage it. So, and then how do kids qualify? So we have the Be or Better policy. So if you have a freshman this year who's looking next year to take AP African American Studies or AP European History, it's necessary that they would have achieved a final grade of a B or better in their ninth grade history, world history class to be eligible. Unfortunately, we often have more applicants for a particular AP course than we have seats available or sections available to offer. So in that instance, it becomes a lottery. That said, I wouldn't bank on it, but if your student qualifies with the B or better and really wants to take the AP course, but they don't make it through the lottery, sometimes during that first 2 weeks of school with the add drop period, there's a student who's been rostered in AP Spanish who ends up dropping out of that class, rearranging their schedule and opening up a seat. So that does happen occasionally, but not with too much frequency. So, additionally, students can only take AP exams for courses in which they're currently enrolled. I was explaining earlier the 1,600 exams we do in 2 weeks and that it stretches our resources thin. So it's really a capacity issue, but we are unfortunately unable to accommodate all the many requests that we get from central students and outside students who request the opportunity to sit for an AP exam for a course in which they are not currently enrolled. The converse of that, or the inverse of that, is that all AP students must sit for the exam. The district foots that bill. You'll see item 6 there at the bottom. But finances are never a barrier to entry into an AP program. Those exams do add up in other districts, but we're grateful for the support that the School District of Philadelphia has offered in covering the cost of AP exams. And because they do that, we require all students who take an AP course to sit for that exam. We don't allow students just to get the 1.2 GPA weight and then take it easy. It actually replaces the final exam in most AP courses. So, and lastly, we have an 85% passing rate last year. That means students scoring a 3, 4, or 5 on their AP exams. Many of our students leave Central High School with more credits than the college they will be attending accepts. So that's a good problem to have. So much AP exam success that they have more than the college will allow them to bring. But that's a good rate, and that's something that we're really proud of. Our teachers work tremendously hard, as do our students, in preparing themselves for success on the AP exams as well. So, I mentioned dual enrollment courses, and if you saw, I'll flip back some slides. of the students, of the 67% of Central High School students taking at least one advanced course, about 1% of those are taking dual enrollment courses. So it's not the most popular option, but it is still a very great option, particularly at LaSalle University just down the street. But we have a number of students also taking classes at Temple or other local institutions. So Ms. Glenn, our roster chair, will be presenting, I believe, next month. Is that right, Esther? In January, and talking with you all about dual enrollment and the course enrollment, course selection process in general. In addition, she'll be making presentations to grade level assemblies beginning in late January or February when that process gets underway. And then, yeah, that's it for me. I wanted to keep it brief, and hopefully I've done that, yet providing a fair overview of what AP looks like at Central High School. So I don't know if there's any questions that I can answer or if any were in the chat.
And then there are a few in the chat. Can you read them, or do you need me to read them to you?
Yeah, would you read them? Well, thank you.
Sure. How many sections are offered for each course, give or take?
That's a great question. That number really it varies quite a bit depending on historic demand. Obviously, we can't always know how many students are going to request a class. It depends on, so two things, supply and demand. We have to have AP certified teachers teaching the course. But unfortunately, take AP European History, for example. Mr. Hung, a brilliant educator in the Social Studies department, teaches that class. He's the only one certified, but we can't give him a roster of 6 AP European History courses because we need him to teach other required courses for graduation requirements in the School District of Philadelphia. So sometimes I'll say this. The fewest number of sections per AP course is 1. I don't know the maximum number, but sometimes it's 5 or 6 sections of an AP course. AP Gov, for example, is very popular. AP English Language and Literature are also very popular. So it's a range.
Okay. What's the acceptance rate on the lottery? X kids out of Y applicants.
I do not have that figure.
Okay.
That's a question that I think would be best posed to Ms. Glenn, the roster chair next month, as she does the nuts and bolts logistics of rostering.
Okay. Can you give more information about the AP exam, the 1 to 5 scale for the test?
Yeah. So students take the test and they earn a score 1 to 5. I've never been a reader. I taught AP United States history, but I was never a reader myself. And I imagine each AP course has its particularities in that regard. But yeah, students are scored on the DBQ essay and the long essay question, as well as the multiple choice in a social studies course. And their total score is added up and scaled against other test takers for that window, against that proper exam. And so most colleges accept scores of 3 or higher for college credit. Some elite colleges and universities will only accept 4s or some only 5s as well.
Which are the most popular APs with lowest acceptance rates?
Again, I actually just don't know
Okay.
raw numbers for how many applicants there are for each advanced placement course. So again, I would direct that question to Ms. Glenn.
Okay. When is the lottery and when do kids apply?
So kids will begin applying. So it's not I'm so glad you asked that question because I think perhaps I was using the word application loosely, but there's no additional application as there is with IB. So when Mr. Palazzolo was discussing the application process to the IB program, because that's a cohort model, that cohort is selected very intentionally through an intensive application process. I use the word in a much more general sense to refer to course selection. So that's what's going to begin in January and February, with Ms. Glenn making presentations to each grade level class at assemblies, and working with students to select their ideal course roster for the coming academic year.
Is there any ranked preference aspect to this process, or is that something that we're considering?
It's a great idea. In terms of course enrollment, I assume that's what we're referring to. No, there isn't a ranked preference.
Courses that preferred courses for students.
Yeah, that's a great idea. To my knowledge, that we don't have a ranked preference. I don't know how logistically how that would work with 2,400 students ranking preferences, but there is an ongoing process, particularly during ad drop, when we're able to make some adjustments if kids sign up for and are placed in classes that turn out not to be the right fit. So it ends up being like a little more one-on-one and case-by-case basis.
Okay. And there are two more questions that I don't know if we can answer, but I know for knowing your students' roster before the year is over, that is a question for Miss Glenn. She'll be able to answer that in January because she's our new roster chair. And Mr. Smith and I are both new to Central from last year.
Year two.
And I guess for Mr. P, he could answer, will the IB students who apply know if they got in before it is time to register for any AP courses if they don't get into IB? So you can always send him an email and ask him that question.
It's a great question. Great. Well, again, thank you all for being here this evening. I know 7:42 on a Wednesday. So thanks for being here. We're glad to be able to speak to you this evening, share some information about IB and AP and CIEE and just updates with what's going on at Central. Definitely come out. Multicultural Showcase tomorrow night, and then the evening concerts as well as the musical. Tons of great events. We encourage you to come join us at Central to enjoy that programming. So thank you all.
Before AP Smith leaves, I want you all to know that this man is running AP. He is doing a great job because that is a beast at Central. So please thank him because he really makes the AP courses work at our school. It is a lot of work and he does it.
That's very kind of you. Well, I don't know why you lie to these good people, but
It's the truth. I would never lie to him.
Thank you all. And thank you all again.
It's Debbie. I want to thank all of you, but I also want to let you know, I just asked Alana and she said that you do find out whether or not you're in IB before you have to do this course selection.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, AP Smith. And just to everyone again, the staff at Central is super awesome to come on these meetings. When I reach out and ask, and they're always quick to say yes and willing to spend even more hours with Central stuff. So really appreciate everyone for doing this. So like we've mentioned a few times, the next HSA meeting, Miss Glenn is going to be the presenter. She is going to talk about both course selection and dual admissions. One important thing to note, this meeting is actually going to be on the first Wednesday of January. Usually our meetings are on the second Wednesday of the month. I know you guys have marked your calendars for all of that. The January meeting, to accommodate the Alumni Association's meeting schedule, they moved a couple meetings for us. So my compromise was to move one of our meetings for them. So we have moved it to January 7th. So coming right out of break, we're going to have the meeting. If you cannot join us, we will record it so that people can see it. Students also get these assemblies, but I know as a parent, it's really helpful when we kind of understand and have the knowledge so that we can help provide them guidance and all of that. Okay, so we are going to run through our HSA updates in hopefully 15 minutes so everyone can jump off at our end time of 8 o'clock. So Nina, you're up first.
All right, great. Thank you, everyone. I'll be fast. So just in terms of the treasury report, as you can see, we started off the month of November with about a little over $44,000 in our bank account. We had no income in the month of November. It's not a big deal. Well, actually, it's a big deal, but it's not really that big of a deal. Because as you guys know, we just had our Giving Tuesday fundraiser, of which we will report on the results of that in the next slide. But just in terms of sort of the activities of what the HSA supported during the month of November, we had remnants from the freshman tea. But I think the big thing is that we fulfilled a lot of requests from our various departments at Central for various things. So, for example, the math department asked for us to purchase as much paper as we could for about $1,000. And so we were able to purchase 21 cases of paper. I can only imagine what the loading dock looked like with 21 cases of paper delivered there. The World Language Department also wanted some paper, as well as some other testing things they needed for their classes. And Mr. I, our technology guru, who always makes those Chromebooks and everything else work within Central, he always has a very long list of technology and replacing pieces, so we were able to fulfill all of his requests. We also, there was Custodian Appreciation Day that occurred, I believe, in October. We were a little late to the game, but we still wanted to, even though we were not, shall we say, right on top of it, to still, say thank you to the custodians who work really hard to try and make the building as clean as they can and everything working as they can and working during those off hours for us. So we gave all of our 9 custodians $25 gift cards, just as a little thank you from the home and school, which of course comes from the whole school community, because those resources come from you all for us to be able to do this work. And then we just had a couple of miscellaneous fees. Our biggest ones in November was that as a 501c3, which allows you for any contributions you make to be tax deductible, we do have to file a 990 with the state. And so we bring on a professional accountant to support us with that because we are not accountants. So that's it for the treasurer's report. I don't know that Michael's here.
I don't think he is.
So why don't I can run through.
Meeting, so. Yeah.
Okay. I can run through the first 2 if you will take the third one. That work?
Yep.
Okay, great. Just in terms of spiritware, since the beginning of the year, we've raised over $20,000 in merchandise that was sold between, of course, our new student orientation, back to school, online sales, as well as the parent gear. If you ordered parent gear and you have not yet received it, please, 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 please ask for your student to stop by Dr. Scott's office on the 3rd floor. It is sitting there waiting for you. I wasn't able to touch base with her in terms of whether or not all the orders are gone, but just in case, I just want to put that little plug out there. And then with regards to our Giving Tuesday that you guys all received, if you're on the parents listserv, received a lot of emails for, we had a $10,000 individual donation goal. We raised just shy of $6,000 last week from 64 individual donors. We had donations as small as $5 all the way up to $1,000. You can still donate. You donate by December 31st, you will get a tax letter that allows you to take advantage of any tax deduction that you may be eligible for your contribution to the Home and School Association, which again, as I noted, is a registered 501c3. Esther?
Thanks, Nina. And yeah, I like to make the plug that if every Central family donated $5, we would pass that goal, because I think there's like 2,200 families or 300 families or something like that. So yeah, and where does that money go? In department grants alone, we dedicate about $28,000 in funds if everyone uses $2,000, right? We also we earmark $11,000 for class grants. So that so the classes could do different activities. Our senior class always, it says 284, but it's our 285. The senior class always uses it, it could be valet parking, cheesesteaks for the yearbook signing. So we do allocate them a little bit more money because they have all of those senior activities. And our class parents are working with the class sponsors and the assistant principals for the classes to identify how to use those funds. And then throughout the year, there's always student and teacher events. Like we bought all the snacks for the freshman tea. I think that was like probably close to $1,500 that was spent there to be able to buy 600, 700 beverages and 600, 700 snacks. International Day, we buy serving utensils and the paper products for that. And we like to have staff appreciation meals. For the November conferences, we split the cost of getting hoagies for our staff that was there all day from 7:30 in the morning, and so I think conferences ended at, I don't know, 7, 8 o'clock at night, I forget what. But we were able to help pay for that. And in the spring, we will also have a really nice teacher appreciation lunch for people. So yes, please, please, please donate. If you go to centralhsa.org, our website, you'll see a PayPal link. You'll also see in our email just the Venmo and Cash App. Is it Cash App? Whatever it is, but for you guys to donate that way too, if you prefer that over PayPal. Okay. Campus beautification, Terry.
Yeah, and I just the PayPal button, you can do, you don't have to have PayPal account. If you want to pay by PayPal, you can, but you can also use a credit card through that too. So campus beautification. So all right, Soap Central. There is an evening performance of the Multicultural Showcase tomorrow. Not sure that I'm going to be able to organize Soap Central for that tomorrow. I have my company holiday party, but I'll send out an email, and if I can get volunteers to figure that out, I will. There next week there are 2 nights of winter concerts. So I'd like to have the soap in the bathrooms for those nights. So look for I'll send out an email via the parent listserv. But for any Soap Central activities, I need adults and students. Just so putting that out there. If there is significant or adequate parental interest in doing a cleanup on one of the next 2 scheduled to be very cold Saturdays, I will set that up as well. And that is kind of leaning towards the early submission for students' community service hours is due January 16th. So all campus beautification, but any HSA activities that students volunteer for, they get community service hours. So I'll leave it there. Thanks.
I was trying to come off mute. Sorry about that. I don't know if my camera's working or not. What's going on there? But whatever. So first of all, the Powder Puff game was a huge success. It was super fun, other than even getting hurt. But 285 won. It was 285 versus 286. I think everyone had a lot of fun, and they had a party. All was good. The turkey ball was amazing. Central beat Northeast for the first time in quite a long time. And there will be a party, a victory assembly on December 12th at 8 a.m. But kudos to them. It was amazing. And Career Day was great. We had all these alumni come in and help and talk to the kids, and it was great. It was really awesome. I was in the wrestling gym where the alumni were waiting, and kids would come in who wanted to talk more to the people, and it was just great. Again, the Victory Assembly is December 12th at 8 a.m. It is for 285s to go to. The winter concert, December 17th and 18th, I think we've spoken about. There's an honors convocation, which is for kids who are nominated from AP and for kids who got merit scholarship honors. And that reception is in the Spain Conference Center. Parents are invited, and it starts at 8 a.m. and then goes through first period. And parents definitely should come. It's also for IB honors, but I'm not sure that any of those people have actually been nominated or that that's happened. So it'll be AP and then the PSAT people. Speaker series, December 22nd at 8 a.m. Young alumni will come in to speak about the college application and process. And then Central's Got Talent. That is a faculty talent show, and the hosts and judges will be from 285, and that's January 9th at 8 a.m. Next slide, please. I'll try and blow through it fast as well. Thank you. Midterms, we talked about January 12th to 15th. Get those forms in. Community service, we've talked about. Senior ski trip, Montage Mountain, February 20th. We need chaperones. You do not have to have a 285 to chaperone. You can chaperone even if you don't have a 285. Feel free to go. There are buses. It's a great event from what I've heard. Amy can talk about it. She's been there in the past. She can talk in a minute when she talks about hers. Central at the Phillies, May 8th. Get your early bird tickets, $40 before the price goes up. Class dues, don't forget, if you don't have them, you can't walk at graduation. And then we're still planning additional activities. Central the Phillies I already had in there, but forgot to take it out. That is it. Thank you all. And any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll move on to Amy.
Thanks, Abby.
Sure.
All right. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Okay. 286, Amy.
Hi. My slides consist of many things that your students can be putting on your resume, working towards college or anything that they're doing after high school. So the first thing is the Winter Youth Entrepreneurship Program, which sounds, really interesting. I'm sending out an email with all this information on it. You can go to the next slide. Another great thing to put on your resume and can also be part of your community service opportunity is tutoring in math, tutoring young students K through 5 in math after school. If the kids are interested in that, they can get in touch and read this information here, which I'll also send out. We already talked about the Phillies in May. The prices keep going up, so you want to get them as early as possible. Career and college information, all listed here, including dual enrollment, workshops about scholarships and money towards college and support programs. I'll send this in the email as well. Another dual enrollment program from Westchester, which includes sociology and literature, and these things look really good on on kids' resumes as well. Important dates, we have the class rings. If you didn't get one and you want to buy one, you have to purchase it by Friday, December 12th. That's the last that they will take a ring. And then there's a ring ceremony on January 26th, which is tentative right now, but it will be somewhere around that date. There's a National Honor Society induction on December 15th. We already talked about the winter concert, the speaker series, Debbie just spoke of, and then there's ice skating on January 23rd at Dilworth Ice Rink. The kids usually leave school early, they get on SEPTA and they go down and they skate. And tickets will go on sale for that, probably pretty soon. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll send this all out in an email.
Thanks, Amy. All right, 288.
Hello, everyone. It's Renita. We have 3 quick updates. Family meetings are being scheduled for students who are failing 2 or more courses, as well as students who are having attendance issues. These meetings are to get students back on track and let families and students know that there's support in place at Central High. And Mr. Myrick said before, the next town hall for 288 will be on Tuesday, December 6th. Mr. Myrick and Mr. Burns will be breaking down high school credits and explaining the process for midterms. And also we touched base about midterms. Midterms are January 12th to the 15th, and the letter went out today. That is it.
Thanks, Renita. And there were no 287 updates, so we did not include those. All right. That is all for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I hope you make it to the January meeting. It's kind of like the part 2 to this meeting, and some of those AP questions could get answered, and timelines and all of that. Yeah, appreciate you all. Have a great evening. Stay warm out there, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you.